Will the Florida housing market make another shift? That is what about 1 million people in New York City is telling us right now about where they are planning on doing on their next journey in their life. So if you haven't heard, the Democrat Party has won the New York City mayor race. Mamdani has won, and apparently his ideas are a little bit extreme for some individuals in the city of New York, about 9% of them. And so now they are saying that if he had won that election, that they're going to be moving out of New York City. And to give you an idea of how many people that is the same amount of population as Washington, D.C. and Las Vegas. So we have an entire major city leaving another major city. That's just the amount of people, how many people in New York City there is. That's insane. So what does that have to do with the real estate market? Well, if we go back 5 years and we remember what happened during the COVID era of the pandemic, we saw a large migration of people moving all across the country into states like Texas and Florida and Tennessee and into the Carolinas as well. Basically, more open economies, more open, business-friendly, individual rights-friendly states. And so we saw a huge migration come in from out of a lot of other states into Florida. And I believe that while 750,000 people say they're going to move, I don't think that all of them are going to move for the same reason that a lot of people say that if a certain president wins an election, they are going to leave the country. Now, I do know it is a lot easier to move from state to state than it is country to country, but I would imagine maybe about half of that population, maybe three-quarter of it, will actually move, and being the top earners will be the ones who move more. People who, especially the affluently rich, who actually have major businesses in that city. I don't see much working class people thinking about leaving that city because they are the ones his policies are actually going to help. So I don't think that they're actually going to make the move as much as the richer class in that state, which in hindsight, or which in conversely, his economic policies might not work due to the higher ultra rich moving into different states. So what do I think is going to happen to the Florida market? I think that Miami is definitely going to take a larger share of that. Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, Tampa, Orlando, the ones who are probably in their aging, retiring years, or just looking to sell their businesses in general, maybe to somebody who's over there. Those people might stay, or they might move. A lot of those will probably go to Naples, further southwest Florida, and then possibly some of them into the Panhandle, Destin, more likely closer around that area. Not as many. I'd say that's going to be the least amount of demand out of these people who are migrating. But definitely I could see Miami taking and Fort Lauderdale, a huge market share of those people who are looking to move. So this is actually something that I spoke about with an old team member that I had with a while ago, and we were discussing different things about what can influence the housing market, with cryptocurrency also having an influence on the real estate market if they're going to start taking payments in Bitcoin or any other sort of cryptocurrency. And this was one major inflection or one major event that I said that this could happen. This could be the next real estate boom for Florida. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not very happy for that, if I'm honest with you guys, because I already know it's really hard for a lot of people to get into housing right now in real estate, and it's unfortunate for a lot of the locals who just can't afford it anymore because the entry cost is a lot. There are state programs that are helping them get into homes, and also we know that the builders here in Florida are are working very hard and being very purchase and what do you call it? Purchase and flow ready. More, they're offering buyer incentives for rate buy downs, closing costs, paying for the lot. Just a lot of different things the builders offering compared to the resale market. So I definitely think that maybe resale will have another little bit of tailwind to help get the houses sold. So if you're a seller in Florida, this winter might be a good time to set up a decision here to get your house on the market and see if you can actually get the price that you've been looking for that you haven't been able to get in the past either year or a couple years ever since interest rates have gone up. So this might be a time to position yourself to take advantage of the migration coming into the state. I do think that also Nashville, Austin, a lot of like Texas is going to take another big, large demand from that, possibly Vegas as well. Also Salt Lake City and maybe some other northeastern states, some migration will go there because a lot of people were not happy with the weather down here. There was a lot of people who have left Florida because it is too hot. The weather is very unpredictable. The hurricanes, the tornadoes, the bugs, the sweating, the humidity, and also property taxes here are ridiculous. Now that I'm finding out, we're going to be paying about $10,000 a year in property taxes. So let's go to DeSantis and Blazengolia to help eliminate those property taxes so that way people can afford their homes again. And to give a little bit of nuance on that, that a lot of people don't know, is the elimination of property taxes, as DeSantis has stated, would be only for primary homes, homesteaded houses. So we will still be collecting property taxes on commercial properties, second homes, and also investment properties as well. So that gives a little bit of relief, at least, to not have such a high drastic amount of tax revenue taken away. A lot of the communities here, they are having CDDs put onto them, which is a tax within the community, and that doesn't help affordability as well as a rising HOA costs too. So the rise in property taxes has been absolutely crazy, as Blaze has been exposing the counties here in Hillsborough County. He reported that there was over $290 million overtaxing the residents here. In Orange County was about $180 million that they overtaxed the residents there. In Jacksonville, I can't remember what county that is, but they got taxed about $90 million over what they're supposed to be taxed for. So there's just a lot of overtaxing, and the government justifies it by going off property values and not so much the population growth, which I think that should be a metric that we should be changing in order to keep housing affordable, especially for the retirees down here who worked all their life and have not been able to, or who have worked all their life, they purchased a property here and now are unfortunately having a hard time with the monthly payments, not just due to property tax adjustments, but also the insurance adjustments as well. The main reason why we've been seeing a lot of the Gulf Coast decrease in values, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Tampa taking a hit. So, there's just a lot of different things that, there's only so much things that a governor or a state representative do to make insurance more affordable because Mother Nature is unpredictable, and there's only so much they can do. They can't change that, right? That's not something that they can change. So insurance or property taxes is something that we can do to change to make housing more affordable, and especially getting more buyers in the market at the lower ages. The median home age right now, the average is 40 years old, and that actually ticked up from 38. It was 28 at one point about 5 years ago. And we personally bought our first home in our what was it? That was 21, 22 when I first purchased my first home, and my wife was 23, and so the cost of entry has been very difficult for a lot of people right now, and I know there are a lot of buyers right now who would like to buy but cannot buy because the inventory is not on the market currently. At the lower end, anything under $300,000 for a single family home is existent in specific markets, but there's also a lot of markets where it's just non-existent, especially in your major cities. And forget about trying to find anything under $250,000 unless it's a fixer upper. But with a 401k, or I'm sorry, a 203k loan, that's something that you could take advantage of and finance, and walk in on some good equity if you know what you're doing, how to do it, or even buying some land if you can find some land and build on it yourself too. So there's definitely a lot of different ways that buyers can get into the housing market. It's just a lot more challenging than something where you're looking turnkey, and that's where I've been saying for a few years now, since I first got my real estate license. Even before then, that new construction was going to take market share here in Florida due to the rising cost of everything, plus insurance and property taxes and inbound migration and all that. So we'll see where the real estate market goes here in Florida. No one has a crystal ball, but if 9% of the population of New York moves, and if it's, let's just say it's half of that, 350,000, 325,000 people, that is a lot of migration coming out of one city. And I can see definitely California taking some of that as well, as possibly people who did move to Texas or Florida and moved back to New York got to understand what it's like living in one of these states, and it wasn't for them. They learned that maybe Cali or maybe some of the mountain states would be a better option for them, being Utah, Denver, Colorado could be definitely another one. So we'll see. Maybe we reached a trough in the real estate market in a lot of places, and we're going to start seeing property values go back up again. So let's see what time tells us. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. It is Thursday. I'm excited because I'm going to get a third interview with a builder. I'm not going to name where yet, but I'm looking forward to interviewing with that third person and starting to get my license reactivated again, so I can help all of y'all find your next dream home. So I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.